Using the templates in the kit, go ahead and cut them out with the fabrics indicated. So you can see we have our check dot red and our dot happy red. So you can just pin those templates on and cut them out. Now the fun part, we get to make our fabric yo-yos. So typically when you make a fabric yo-yo, you would press an 1/8 inch seam around the circle using an iron, and you would press it towards the wrong side of the fabric. But for these fun mushrooms, we're not going to do that. We are going to use the raw edge. I feel like that was, part of the charm of these cute mushrooms was using that raw edge. So you can see we're just adding a gather stitch around the entire parameter of this circle, and you're just going to gather that yo-yo and fluff it out until you like how it looks and the size, and then you're just going to add a stitch to complete the gathers of that fabric yo-yo. So really simple, just with a gather stitch all the way around and pull it tight to create that circle. Sometimes you kind of have to tuck and pucker that different fabric, but it turns out so cute. Next, you're going to get that natural twill ribbon that's included in your kit, and you're going to cut it in half so that you have 2 different mushroom stems. Then what we're going to do is we're going to fold this yo-yo, not quite in half, because you want a little bit of it to stick out in the bottom. So about of a third, you're going to fold that mushroom in half. Then we're just going to take and we're going to tuck that twill ribbon inside the mushroom, making sure that the raw edges of that yo-yo are sticking out for the bottom of that mushroom. So just tuck that ribbon in and then grab your thread and do a tack stitch to keep that inside of your mushroom. That will just help hold it all together. We're just going to repeat the exact same steps for the other side of the yo-yo. Now this one is the smaller one, so the circle is a little bit smaller, so you'll notice that it's going to come out a little bit different. But again, just do the same thing. You're going to add that gather stitch all the way around, keeping the raw edges of the yo-yo. Move the fabric around as you can to make the size that you like, and then insert that twill ribbon. And you guys, you have 2 really cute mushrooms. Isn't that just the funnest technique to make these cute fabric mushrooms from yo-yos? Let's go ahead and let's add on our mushrooms. So in order to get the height the way you want it, I recommend grabbing your letters. So you could do whichever letters you want, and you could do bloom. I mean, these alphabet letters are so fun, but I did the word grow, and I'm just taking that twine that comes in the kit and I'm just stringing them on to the twine. Really simple. Later we'll go on and we'll tack stitch these on to the quilt block, but for now we're just going to string them on so that we can make sure that we get the proportion before we add on our mushrooms. Let's add on those mushrooms. So we're going to take and we're going to place both of them on. You can decide how high you want them and just adjust them as needed. And then this cute crocheted lace comes in your kit. And I really liked layering this just to add a little bit more texture. So I took and just snipped off some pieces and I layered it under both mushrooms to make it simple and easy. And then the trick here is to grab a glue stick, and that's just going to help you tack those on so that as you're stitching them on, they stay in place. So that's my little secret weapon, is grab the glue stick. It won't make your needles sticky if you just add a little tiny bit of glue. The final touch to these cute mushrooms, which I think just takes it over the top, is to add a hand embroidery stitch. It gets a little bit tricky up here through all the layers, but you can do it. Just push your needle through a little bit more. So all we're doing is we're doing like a fern stitch. So you come down 1 stitch and then you take and you do an angle stitch on each edge. So you can see you're not doing it straight across, you're doing it at an angle to create that cute stitch. And then you're just taking it back inside the same stitch hole So now you go down and then bring it over to the edge, back down through the same stitch hole, other side, and then bring it through the same stitch hole. Then you go straight down. And you just keep on building, and it creates that really fun touch with the brown embroidery floss. And I think it just made that mushroom turn out so fun. So again, straight stitch down and then 2 stitches at an angle, and you are stitching through all the layers of the fabric. So your stitches do show on the back, but since it's brown, it's no big deal. Now that we have those mushrooms all tacked down, we're going to go ahead and just trim up those pieces. And now we're going to take and we're going to add another hand embroidery stitch with our dark green embroidery floss. And we're just going to layer on some lazy daisy stitches. So there's no right or wrong, however many you want to add. I just did several long lazy daisy stitches to create some fun, you know, grass coming up from the mushrooms. Just adds another fun little detail. So do as you please with long lazy daisy stitches, and you just do that by creating a loop and then bringing your needle up at the top of how tall you want your lazy daisy stitch, and then do a quick jump stitch over to tack that down, and that's how you do a lazy daisy stitch. Let's finish this off. So again, I just used the glue stick to add my ribbon crocheted trim on, just because we're going to stitch this on when we take it to our machine. And so all we need is for it to stay in place, and the glue stick will help do that. And like I said, just a really light layer. You can go in and you can also add like some X stitches onto it for some fun top stitching if you wanted. You could really have a lot of fun with the detail. And then we're just going to add on our cute grow letters. You can see here that you just put them on, and then again, I glue sticked them. You could, at this point, you could tack stitch those on if you don't want them to move. But I just used the glue stick again to do that. And then you can hand stitch your twine on to make sure that doesn't move as well if you want. That is a good idea, so that it gets, make sure that then when you add your binding on that it will stay in place. So that's how we do our quilt panel.